Hello, my fiery friends, the Infernoman here with a quick question I want to ask you. Are you a red-blooded American who enjoys playing Magic the Gathering and you want to celebrate the weekend? Well, have I got the deck for you. But fair warning, it's not cheap. But let's go to the gameplay and show you what I'm talking about. For America today, we're playing our Patriot Planeswalker deck. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. As you can see right here, we've got our Royal Science, Expressive Iteration, Johnny, Teferi, 3 lands, which I think should be enough to help us get to victory. Okay, so to begin, looks like our opponent is playing Spire Bluff Canal, and we've got our Triome. We'll put that down first. All right, opponent, do you have anything? They shock themselves with the Steam Vents. Ledger Shredder. Oh boy. Oh boy, this card, everyone. Alright, before we get to that, let's put down our Sacred Foundry, tapped. We don't want to shock ourselves because we don't want to lose too much life against the Ledger Shredder. Expressive Iteration, no surprise there. Remember, this is historic, so it's legal. You can see also at the bottom, we have our own Expressive Iteration. Okay, they got a Faithless Looting. So is this what I think it is? This looting, first off, they will connive. Oh, it's Phoenix. Ooh, arguably the best deck still in Historic. Well, we are in for a fight. Okay, they dump 2 cards. They go swinging. We take 2. Ooh, Soul Guide Lantern. Not too bad. But first, let us Expressive Iteration ourselves. Okay, we're going to keep that Wrath for later. We'll drop the Hollow Fountain. I know that seems kind of weird, but we are a Planeswalker heavy deck. We'll put down the Beacon. Ledger Shredder unfortunately goes off, but we need to keep the Beacon out in the event that our Planeswalkers start stacking up so we can gain some life and stabilize. Opponent throws away their card. We will use our Soul Guide Lantern to exile that Phoenix, so that's one less threat for us to worry about. Cool. At least they won't be able to chain stuff together, at least for now. Alright, opponent, Faithless Looting again. Alright, throw away Expressive Iteration to land. Expressive Iteration. They connive. They draw. What do they discard? Land? No land? They get their card from the Expressive Iteration. Okay. Tapped. And they go swinging. Yep. They hit us. We are down to 14. Well, we need to stabilize soon. Okay, so let's see our game plan here. Throw down the island. I don't like to do this right now, but we have to Wrath. We can't allow that Ledger Shredder to get any stronger. And with them tapped out, that was our only shot. Consider. Throw away a shock land. Alright, our opponent's graveyard is getting a little hefty here, so can't get too big, everyone. Second Ledger Shredder. Alright, the threats keep coming. The threats keep coming. One of the biggest advantages that Ledger Shredder on Phoenix and this whole deck is that we're dealing with is, you can see, they may not have always raw card advantage, but they have a lot of ways of filtering their deck. Meanwhile, we just need to try to stabilize here, so let's throw out a Mountain. What do we throw away? If I put on a Johnny, I'm expecting right now... Yep. Okay. Well, that stinks, but we did get 1 life off of that, so not much, but at least we get to slow down our opponent's assault here. Okay, they hardcasted a Phoenix. I guess they didn't want to chain together more threats, but alright. Okay, so goes in. So they were going to go swinging here for 4. Okay, we're down to 11. Ooh, we got to find a way to stabilize. Okay, we do. So goes in ourselves. Chandra. Hopefully they don't have anything else. Get 1 life back. We need to tick up Chandra because I want to try to get down another Planeswalker. Tick up. Opponent. Unholy for full value. That stinks. At least I'm glad we actually ticked up there for some mana. Okay. In any case, Ledger Shredder still goes off. We get Raw out, so at least we still get some Planeswalker advantage here. Let's scry by ticking up. We don't need a Hollow Fountain. We need more action. Alright, we're going to pass here. Do they attack Raw? Yep, they attack Raw. This at least buys us a little time. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have anything else. Oh, spoke too soon. Pillar of Flame. We're not looking too good here, guys. Don't worry. It's Independence Day, everyone. I believe in us. So, let's play Teferi. Alright, he does resolve. Okay. Let's take up Teferi. Go up to 6 with it. Alright, this protects us for a little bit, but it only buys us time. We're running out of options here. Opponent, do they attack Teferi? Yes, they do. Not a surprise. Alright, Teferi down to 2. And our turn. Okay, Teferi at least survives a turn, which is good. Beacon. We tick up again. Okay, so that protects us for a little bit. Alright, this is the turn. Royal Scions. Gain 2 life. Our interplanar beacons are actually helping here a lot. They keep us stable while we loot with Royal Scions. Draw a card. Throw away Steam Vents. Alright, we're calling in Yorion now. Our giant Sky Nomad. Our little flying noodle here is going to get us a victory, everyone. I believe in it. Dragon's Rage Channel. Opt. Alright. Remember what I was mentioning, guys. This is arguably the best deck we're fighting against right now with our janky plan here. Again, as I mentioned, they don't have raw card advantage, but they do have a lot of ways of filtering, and that's what gives them a big edge in this deck. They've got right now a total of 8 power, so they can two-shot us here if they really wanted to. But, okay, well, I guess they want to go after Teferi. I guess they really do see our Planeswalkers as threats. That's fine. Again, this buys us time while we try to hopefully dig for an answer. Alright, our turn. Alright, Lightning Helix is not bad. Let's take up with the Scions. We will throw away a Sacred Foundry. Alright, bringing in Sky Noodle. It's up to you. Okay. This doesn't really give us any value, so we will not exile our Royal Scion. Okay, we will pass here. No value there. The deck just keeps having tempo plays against us. Oh, man. Okay, we're going to lose a Royal Scion here, aren't we? Okay, they go swinging. They swing at every... No. Okay, Dragon's Rage Channeler coming at us. Right, Phoenix, Ledger Shredder. They probably see that we have the Soul Guide Lantern. But first, let's Lightning Helix. Maybe we can protect our Royal Scion opponent? Oh, they had a Spell Pierce. I tell you, this deck is tough to deal with. I like the deck, actually, but not in this instance. Okay, we have no choice here, guys. We have the Soul Guide Lantern now. So we exile everything. We turn off Dragon's Rage Channeler. So it only hits us for 1. We lose our Planeswalker. But that's okay. Now, before we continue, everybody, let's pause here for a second. Okay, so we just called in Yorion right now. As you see, we just exiled our opponent's entire graveyard. They only have 1 card left. However, we only have our 2 Triumphs to cycle. Do you think we can get there, everybody? But before you even answer that question, let's actually jump right into our deck tech real quick. Don't worry. We will come back to this in the second half after we finish our deck tech, and we will show you if we actually can win this match. So our deck today is breaking a rule that I kind of established for myself. Usually I don't like to do non-budget builds, but again, it's 4th of July weekend, and we're just going to here to celebrate, of course, America. So we're doing that by picking a Jeskai Super Friends deck. If you are interested, I do have actually a deck tech from last year if you want to actually try something that's more creature focused. But this one is all Planeswalkers in red, white, and blue. I mean, this deck is so huge because we're using Yorion that even the sideboard I can't even fit onto the screen right here, but good lord. That's America for you, just going big, just in exaggerating and obnoxious for no reason whatsoever. But we do have a bit of a game plan here. It's not like I threw together everything just for flavor purposes. Yes, there is some fun flavor, but also we do have a general game plan of what we're trying to sequence into. So let's actually begin and explain how this deck is meant to be played. So we have a Mox Amber in our 0 drop slot, and this is just going to help us pseudo ramp in the turn 2, turn 3 spot. We have Soul Guide Lanterns and Luxior Giada's Gift. Of course, as you see, since we're all Planeswalkers, we don't have a single creature in the deck. This, our legendary artifact, is going to help us turn one of our Planeswalkers into a very powerful threat. But of course, we got to be careful as when we do it, because once we turn it into a creature, it's more susceptible to removal. So just be mindful of when to turn one of your Planeswalkers into a creature. As far as your 2-drop slot, it is mostly all removal and counter spells. This is, of course, just to make sure that we can protect what we have until we get it out onto the field and they can protect themselves. So a single copy of Devout Decree, Ether Gust, and Fry for different specific color hates, negates, Dove and Vetoes for counter spells. Since we are playing in Historic, and now we're doing that, of course, for flavor reasons, we're going to do instead of Expressive Iteration. Still a fantastic card, helps us get to what we need. Some Lightning Helix. This is, again, a little bit of a flavor, but it is a solid removal spell. This is basically what I would consider a Fireworks for our deck. An additional Fireworks is going to be in Rip Apart to take down our enemies. We can either do some damage to them or their Planeswalker, or get rid of an artifact or enchantment that is hating on us. And of course, now is where we get to the very meat of the deck. We got our 3-drops. We got some Narset. We do have Saheeli to generate some more creature tokens for us. The Royal Scions, which can either pump up a creature, but we're using it for its looting effect. And we have a Gideon Blackblade. This guy is, of course, a protector of everyone. And of course, I thought he was pretty good flavor-wise for our deck. Still, we have a couple more counterspells in Mystical Disputes, and we do have a little bit of filtering, ramp, and basically a catch-all can do everything Prismari command. In the 4-drop slot, you have a Johnny, which is similar to how Gideon is. He helps us protect what we have by using creatures. We could take him down, but also his life gain is fantastic. Also, if you listen to how he sounds whenever you take him up or down, I love how he sounds. He sounds very heroic. Just gotta throw it out there. And then, of course, we have Wrath of God, smashing, of course, all of our enemies with one single Wrath. Chandra, Torch of Defiance. Again, the American spirit of defying against what we're here for. We're fiercely independent, so we only have one copy of her. Teferi, it's unfortunately the alchemy version, but he still is solid, so I figured we would throw him in there as well. Raw Storm Conduit just helps us with scrying and also helps us ping out our opponent. Narset of the Ancient Ways, again, some pseudo ramp, some life gain, some drawing, and also discarding when we need to loot, and also does a little bit of extra damage when we need to in a pinch. Sarkhan the Master List in the 5th drop slot, and then what makes us really powerful is by taking it up, if we have enough Planeswalkers, can smash through our opponent's defenses and get us to victory. An Oath of Teferi, which can help us double up on all of our Planeswalker triggers by taking up an extra time. Teferi, we gotta have Teferi, Hero of Dominaria in the deck. Incredibly powerful card, and when we get him down, he usually can help us get to what we need very quickly. And in the final 6-drop slot, a copy of Farewell, just to exile everything off the board and clean it. And finally, a Chandra Awakened Inferno in the 6-drop slot. The spell can't be countered. You've seen it before. Ticks up to do a little bit of pinging every turn to put pressure on our opponent, and also can blow up the board with its -3, or we can do its -X to ping out something just to get rid of it permanently out of the game. As far as your land base, it's actually all equal. We have we have here 1 plains, 1 island, 1 mountain as your basics. You have a Castle Ardenvale, a Castle Vantress, and a Den of the Bugbear, along with Sokuzan Crucible Defiance, Otawara Soaring City, and Ijano Seed of the Empire. And of course, a mixture of your shock lands. If you want to have other lands in here that are dual types, that's perfectly fine. As long as you get at least a full playset of each, or at least a mixture of 12, just to have you enough mana fixing. Full playset of Triomes, red, white, and blue, of course. They can cycle away. They are fantastic to have. Copies of Interplanar Beacon to help us gain some life as we are trying to get all of our Planeswalkers onto the field. And finally, a copy of Karn's Bastion to help us proliferate. If you could proliferate a couple times with everything out, oh man, it just goes insane. As far as your sideboard, nothing that we can really show on video, because again, this video would be way too long if we tried to do that, but Authority of the Consuls to protect us against enemy aggro decks. Some more Devout Decrees, Ether Gust, and Fries, and depending on whatever deck we have to deal with. A Dovin Hand of Control to slow down our enemy control decks. Deafening Clarion for another Wrath, along with Settle the Wreckage, and a Farewell as well. And then Teferi, who slows it to sunset. You can also use this, of course, to do a little bit of tapping and untapping, depending on whatever's going on in the field. And then finally, at the very end, our only creature in the deck, the Spirit of the American Dream, Dream Trawler itself. It is an incredibly powerful card, which can be a very powerful threat against our opponent. Just 1 single copy is all we need, and you'd be surprised that this card can still get us to victory versus everything. Whew! That's actually the entire deck, everyone. Obviously, I didn't need to say it, but yes, we have Yorion Sky Nomad on the far end over here. Our only other creature, per se, in the main deck that we could pull out. And if we have to, we can then exile everything, bring it back in, and reset all of our Planeswalkers. But otherwise, that's the whole deck for you guys. Rather than me constantly rambling about this, let's go back into some gameplay and show you how we play this. Alright everybody, thanks for hanging in there with the deck tech. If you do like these gameplays, if you do like their deck techs, please give a like on this video and subscribe to the channel so you can enjoy all of these gameplays, deck techs, booster pack openings, and so much more on this channel. Alright, jumping back into this real quick, we have our Yorion Sky Nomad. The Flying Noodle is out. That's all we have to protect our life total. Our opponent is at 18. We're at 15. They have 3 creatures out, but they only have 1 card left in hand. What could it be? Can we get to victory? Can we get at least some Planeswalker action out on the field? Can we stabilize? Who knows? That's going to be the fun right now. Let's jump back into this game and show you how it ends. They have 2 cards. Okay, opponent is playing Consider. Dragon's Rage Channeler. Triggering off Surveil. And they draw. Nope. They throw away another Dragon's Rage Channeler. Interesting. I guess they're trying to boost up their current Dragon's Rage Channeler against us. Okay, what do we block? Arclight Phoenix would probably just come back. So let's block the Ledger Shredder. Unless they had an unholy heat. We are still not where we want to be, everybody. Oh, this deck. Okay, they connive. We throw away an Ox. We then lose our Sky Noodle. And we are in bad shape right now. Our opponent is very close to just closing out this game. But let's cycle our Triumph. Hopefully we draw into something. Okay, Narset's not bad. At least that can help us keep digging for answers. Okay, we gain some life. Again, this is helping us stabilize a little bit. They can't draw any more for the time being while Narset's here. Ooh, farewell. Whew. This is what we needed, everybody. Okay. Hopefully that's not a counterspell. But in the meantime, let's exile creatures and graveyards. Please no other counterspells. Alright, they connive. Okay. Whew. Okay, we just cleared the board, everybody. We have a shot now at this. We can get there. Ooh, they have Hollow the Storm Giants. Ooh, that can close out the game in 2 swings. But let's dig and see what we get. Gideon. I don't know if that's going to get us there. Let's Prismari Command instead. That at least still helps us keep digging through our deck. Let's turn on Den of the Bugbear. We can get a little bit of damage here, but the reason why we're doing this is we're going to make that token. The token can't block this turn, unfortunately, which stinks, but that's okay. That Hollow of the Storm Giants is a big threat to us. But the downside to our opponents, you see, they're tapped out. So they can't play anything else right now. We take that hit. All right. We can't afford another hit with Hollow of the Storm Giants, so let's scry with Castle of Vantress. Throw away the Mystical Dispute there to the bottom. We need that Expressive Iteration. That can help us get there. Okay. Expressive Iteration. Come on. Ooh, Teferi. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. We will put that into our hand. Well, actually, we probably could have exiled that, but that's fine. That's fine. Okay. Put back the negates. We don't need the Devout Decree. That doesn't really do much for us right now. But that's okay. Play Teferi. We gain some life. Okay, so we can afford to sponge another hit if we have to. Teferi draws. What are we drawing to? Oath of Teferi. Okay. That's not too bad. We will not attack. We need to keep that token alive. We will untap a couple lands. Opponent, they got 2 cards left. I think we might be able to get there now. All the Storm Giants turns on again. Even if they have Teferi, that buys us time. Okay, here we go. They do that. We will chump block, which just allows us to live to fight a little bit longer. All right. That pretty much forces them to keep burning up their mana, so they don't really have a way of doing anything else. Consider, but wait, we have Narset still. They can't draw a card. They could throw something in the graveyard, but that's it. It's a Phoenix, but thank you, Narset. Okay, Triumph. Cycle that. What do we get? Ooh, okay. 3-color Narset. That's good. Okay, first off, we have enough mana now. Oath of Teferi. Exile blue Teferi. Remember, with Oath of Teferi out, we can now double up our Planeswalker trigger, so this is actually great. It looks like we tapped out, but watch. We're going to gain some life. We will now tick up Narset, gain some mana. We will tick up Teferi, not once but twice here. We actually might be able to ultimate next turn with it. That's actually pretty sweet. But let's tick up again. It's at 7. That puts pressure on our opponent now. We will tick up with Narset again, take some more mana. We will then play Prismari Command, make a treasure token, and draw 2 cards. Completely tapped out for a second here, but don't worry, we're going to get that mana back in a second. We discard Counterspell and a land. Alright, all the triggers come back. We will untap. Untap. Okay. Okay, we're in good shape now, guys. We got Planeswalkers for days. Hollow of the Storm Giants turns back on again. They're basically tapped out at this point. They swing up to Teferi. We're going to turn on our Den of the Bugbear. Chump block. We will lose the creature land, but this means we keep Teferi. If we keep Teferi, we can go ultimating it next turn, and we can win. Yes! We got there, everyone! For America. We did it, everybody. Whew, what a match. But anyways, let's go over again just real quick before we end this, my final thoughts. The deck overall, honestly, is not very competitive because you see it's just 1-ofs of everything, maybe some 2-ofs and a couple of 3-ofs in the deck. But the biggest advantage, of course, with it is once you start cascading into a couple of Planeswalkers, and if your opponent can't answer them, it just goes off and they go insanely big, insanely fast. However, as you kind of saw, the weakness of the deck is we have to wait until turn 3 before we start throwing down Planeswalkers, and we have to hope that they don't start blowing them up one by one. If they do, then our deck is really kind of just piddling out in the hopes that we just try to top deck into some other Planeswalker that they just can't deal with. However, that's why in the 2-drop, as I emphasized earlier, we have a lot of removal and a lot of counter spells to protect ourselves until we build up enough mana to get to our big threats. That's why we also have in the main deck some Wraths and some other ways of dealing with our opponent until we get to what we need. So be mindful that when you're playing a control deck like this, you have to make sure you're sequencing everything correctly. But of course, the other main weakness that I wanted to point out, again, this is a flavor fun deck. It wasn't meant for me to be anything competitive. Otherwise, I would have refined a little bit more of which Planeswalkers to pick. But one more time, the biggest other issue that you will notice is, for especially in the 2-drop slot, a lot of our cards have very specific mana that they want to have. And if, say, like you're playing things like Interplanar Beacon on the first turn or so, you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer before you can actually start pinging stuff off at instant speed, which kind of stinks for how this deck runs. But again, I'm just having fun with it. I just wanted to do a bunch of stuff that I thought would have been a little bit enjoyable, at least just for the holiday, mostly for flavor purposes. But if you actually want to try a serious version of this deck, be sure to check up a couple of places online where they have Jeskai Control builds, and they can show you a much more refined version of how to meant to play Jeskai Control in a nutshell. And there you have it, everybody. That was our patriotic Planeswalker deck for the 4th of July weekend. So you tell me in the comments below, what do you think? Do you want me to keep doing more of these kinds of flavor fun decks for future holidays? Are you just a fan of Super Friends decks in particular? Let me know in the comments below, and I would love to hear from you. But whatever you do for the 4th of July weekend, just make sure to have safe out there, and don't worry, next year we once again will have another flavor deck for you to build. But until next time, thanks again for watching, everyone, and just remember, no matter what you do play in the game of life, always be sure to burn bright. Later!